Welcome to We Die Like Men. I'm Mike. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, glad you're back. We are, what is today? Today is May 18th, 2026. This is my third video I'm doing today because I have time. We're getting right into the midst of graduation season. For all you seniors out there graduating, congratulations. It's a big milestone. I'm glad you made it there. My oldest, my son, he's coming up on 1 year since he graduated. So life is about to change, as you know it. Going from high school to whatever it is you're going out in the world to do. If you're heading off to college, you're heading off into the workforce, you're heading off into the military. Um, I didn't really go to a regular college, but I did go off to the military, and I've been off in the workforce. Sitting here listening to an old guy on the internet give you life advice probably isn't on your bingo card, as they like to say. But at almost 50, I think I've got some words of wisdom to pass on. 35 years ago, 36 years ago, I graduated. And the world has changed 1,000 times since then. There's some things that don't. And if you do nothing else today, listen to what I got to say. You may sit there and say, this old bastard don't know shit. Well, guess what? You're right. None of us do. If you think at 19 that you've got the world figured out, you don't. At 50, I don't. My dad passed away a few years ago at almost 80. He always said I never got things figured out. My grandfather at 86, before he passed, he's like, we all spent our whole life trying to figure it out. We learned things that made it better, made it easier, but we never figured it all out. And it's okay. You don't have to. You're 17, 18, 19 years old. You haven't been out there in the world enough to figure it out. I think what a lot of us older people, older guys especially, to the young guys are trying to tell you is, hey, we've been there, we've been in your shoes, we know the mistakes that we made, and we're just saying not necessarily don't do what we did, but know going into it what it entails. I got bit by a mosquito, my leg itches. Wear bug spray. That's probably a smart thing to do right there. I didn't realize here in Maine the mosquitoes aren't usually that bad this time of year, but I got bit by something. You're gonna go out there and it can be scary. It can be really scary. It can be exciting. That first time, hey, I've spent 18 years or whatever of my life with mom and dad tell me what to do and teachers tell me what to do and all of this. And guess what? I'm free. I'm an adult now. Yeah, welcome to adulthood. Because now there's still laws that are going to tell you what to do, employer that's going to tell you what to do, friends and family are still going to tell you what to do, the world's going to tell you what to do, and life is going to tell you the things that you have to do. It's all part of it. We all deal with it. Like I said, almost 50. I have a wife that tells me what to do. I have kids that are like, hey, I need this done. Now, my son, 19, but I have a 16-year-old daughter too. So she's not as bossy as her mother, but she can be rather demanding on things in a good way. She's not, neither one of my kids were ever like, you have to do this, you owe us this. No, I don't. I owe you certain things as a parent, and I always made sure I did that the best of my ability. And that right there is a big thing. You're going to go out there and do whatever it is you do. Hopefully, you do it to the best of your ability. And if your ability to do it isn't good enough, you'll learn how to become better. You're going to go out there, and like I said, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be scary. You're going to have bills. You're going to have things that you have to do. The workplace is a shitty place sometimes. It really can be. And but we shouldn't live to work. We should work to live. I get the cost of everything's through the roof. Pay doesn't always add up. Guess what? It was like that 36 years ago when I left school and got a job and was doing things and military and whatever. What I needed, I usually made enough to cover my bare essentials there wasn't extra. There wasn't enough to take a trip or to go out to dinner or buy a new car or shit like that. It took me time. It took me years. But when I got to that point and I got to where, hey, I could afford my first new car and my second, my third, and hey, I could buy a house. I could take family on vacations and go to Disney or rent a cabin somewhere for a week. It was like, wow, this is really cool. I've been able to do this. It took a long time. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of effort. Uh, but I got there by realizing that I was going to fuck up. I don't know how else to put it to you. You're going to screw up. You are going to make mistakes. That's okay. Learn from it. Hopefully, your mistake isn't so big that it screws you for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, that happens with some people. But I think if we stop for a minute and think, we can kind of figure out not to do certain things. Don't get yourself in trouble. Surround yourself with people who want to succeed and want to see you succeed. They're not trying to screw you to get ahead in life for themselves. We've all had those people around us. And the sad part is sometimes that's family. I have family members that can be like that sometimes. If they see you getting ahead, it's kind of like they get upset about it. My dad could be like that once in a while. He could be. Never really 100% sure why, but you just could be sometimes. Um, I'm not with my kids. I want them to do way better than I did. Way better. And, my son's working his butt off. He works nights as a heavy truck mechanic. A kid makes $25 an hour. You know how many years it took me to get to that kind of money? I was in my 30s before I ever made that kind of money. And I was a specialty diesel mechanic before I ever started making that mid 20s on up. Now, I'm medically retired due to injuries sustained while I was a firefighter and medic. That was kind of my life for a long time. But, I've been out of the workforce now, I don't know, 11 years, 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. And it sucks, but, you know, I make it. I make ends meet. I got my pension from it, I guess is the way to say. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to look and say, I don't know what to do here. And hopefully you have a mother, a father, a grandparent, an aunt, and uncle, a mentor, somebody where you can go to and be like, I don't know what to do. The whole premise to this channel is that it's supposed to be a place where guys can hang out and shoot the shit and be like, I'm kind of lost. I don't know what to do. You younger guys can maybe rely on some of us older guys to give you advice. We're not here to tell you what you have to do. We're here to help guide you. And that's it. I've transitioned with my son from being the guy that told him what to do, when to get up, when to take a shower, brush his teeth, eat, clothes, mow the lawn, whatever it was, to the guy that guides him in his journey in life and be like, did you think about this? He wants to buy a new truck. We sat down today and went over numbers and looked what his insurance would be on a new truck. And that's when he sat back and goes, I can't afford that a month. And I'm glad that he didn't just go, I'll just work some extra hours and pay for it. He went, I can't afford that. Smart. Realize that he was really rejected from it. You could tell he was kind of depressed about it. And he's like, this sucks. I'm like, yeah, it does. But we've been there. And I'd love to fix that for him. But even if I was in a financial position to snap my fingers and make that happen, I don't know if I would. Because that isn't helping him as much as him figuring it out, learning it, and going through the paces. He's got to learn it. You're going to have to learn it. School has taught you a little. Sometimes very little, sometimes a bit more. The real world is going to teach you a lot. One of the best signs I ever saw, it would be a meme now, but it was in my high school, in my school. I went to a very small school. It was kindergarten through 12th, all in one building. Was a sign leaving the cafeteria. And it said, experience is the best teacher because it gives you the test first and the lesson afterwards. Experience is going to test you. And afterwards, whether you pass or fail that test, you're going to go away with some knowledge. That knowledge may be that, hey, I need to do better. I don't have what it takes right this minute. That's okay. That's fine. It may be, hey, I nailed that. I did that absolutely right. And that's great. Don't rest on that because the next test is going to be harder. Experience will continue to test you your whole life. It does for me. There are days when I have to sit here and go, I don't friggin' know how I'm going to do all this. Figure it out. That's the thing. I don't have somebody else to go to. That was another reason with this channel for me. It's a new channel. My grandfathers are all gone. My father has passed. My father-in-law passed early this year. I have three older sisters. I, my brother-in-laws, the two of them that are left, good guys. Not the type that I really can just go to for advice on life. Sometimes it's just not them. My uncles are passed. I don't have a lot. I'm the old guy in that group now, and it's terrifying sometimes to sit there and go, I gotta figure this shit out. I don't have to do it alone. I got friends. I got things like this. I wish when I was 18 years old that this existed to a point. I mean, I graduated high school in 95. YouTube was not a thing. I don't even think Google was a thing yet. It might have been. Um, yeah, in the early 90s, whatever. I'm older than it, I know that. But it'd been nice to have that, hey, you know, what do I do here? I had my dad, I had my grandfathers, I had my one grandfather left at that point. Um, I had uncles, I had people that I could go to with questions. Sadly, the guys of that generation, a lot of them are gone. You know, guys born in the early 50s back. So a lot of them that aren't with us anymore. And while we don't always agree with them on a lot of things and we have different point of views and the world's changed a lot, there's still advice there that's worth taking. Don't rush right out and just start spending money like crazy. While it's for a lot of you, it's going to be the first time you've got a real paycheck. I mean, a lot of you, like myself, worked in high school, and some of us more middle school age, early high school. Freshman year, well, I wasn't even a freshman yet. I had a job pumping gas at 13 or so. Um, you know, it was, this will be your first real paycheck for a lot of you. And don't just stop blowing it because something's going to pop up where you need money and you need it right now. Put some away. Be careful with the type of crowds you start hanging out with. When we graduate high school, a lot of times our friends, we drift apart and it sucks. I have people that, man, they were some of my best friends in high school. I loved hanging around them. We haven't talked in any format, online or face to face, in over 10 years. Life gets in the way. There's people that I would give anything to talk to again that just aren't with us anymore. You know, like I said, fathers, father-in-law, grandfathers, uncles, and grandmothers. And fortunately, my mother's still around. My mother-in-law is still around, for what that's worth. I love her, but she's a pain in the butt sometimes, and I am to her too, so it works out. Um, but they're gone. I can't do that. We, as we grow, we change. You're going to change. Who you are today probably isn't going to be the exact same person you are 10 years from now, 5 years from now, for a lot of people. If you're heading off to college, excellent. Congratulations. I hope you're going for a degree that can be fulfilling for you. There's a lot of degrees out there that there just isn't a real world application for, it seems. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I hope you're picking one that can be fulfilling to you. It has to be something that you're passionate about, but something that can sustain you through life too. If you're heading off to the workforce, know this: you are now the young one. You are that freshman in high school, almost, so to speak. Everyone's going to shit on you to a point, depends on where you work, type of place. You're going to get the crap jobs, you're going to have the crap pay, but you need to prove yourself. You show up every day, you work your ass off, you're not a dick to people, you're willing to learn. Us older guys, when I would start training new guys, be it with the fire department or my job as a mechanic, we felt out the young guys. Is this somebody that's going to be able to take it? Is this somebody that can, you know, take some joking and give it back? Is it somebody that can just suck it up and do the crappy jobs that we all have to do? Are they willing to stick it out and learn it and become good? If they were, then man, you were in. We got you. I fucked up a lot of shit as a mechanic. I cost my employers tens of thousands of dollars over the years of making mistakes. I had an employer that allowed us to make mistakes because he knew, like I knew, that good mechanics didn't just spawn. They were created by somebody who had the basic ability to understand complex systems and the ability to learn and the desire to learn to do it right. The work ethic, the morals, the personality, the mentality to be like, I want to do this, I'm going to learn. And push through and persevere. And we were allowed to make some mistakes. If we were constantly making the same mistake, well, maybe this isn't for you, kid. Sorry, but we got to let you go. That happens. If you're heading into the military, I salute you for that. It's not an easy job. It's not a it's not for everybody, but it can be a very rewarding and fulfilling either career or more likely what most people do 4, 5, 6 years, 8 years, whatever. 3 year enlistments are probably still available. I don't know. Talk to your local friendly recruiter. Don't believe a word they tell you because they lie worse than a used car salesman and a politician combined, it seems, which is saying a lot. But um, go in and take an MOS, which is your military operational service, your job, that can translate well. Now, maybe you go in and I don't want that job, but it gets you in the door. And then a lot of times you can change MOSs. Again, check with people. The ones that translate the best in the civilian world are medical stuff, to a point, mechanics, computer stuff, probably a lot of like administrative work does too. Those things translate great. If you're going in and let's say your Army or Marine Corps and your infantry, you're limited on what that translates to your skill set. A lot of companies want to hire you even if it's a different skill set that they need because they know that you've put in the work and you've learned stuff and you're disciplined. Kicking in a door and throwing in a grenade is not something that is usually translates well into the civilian world. Maybe something that somewhere there is, I don't know. Um, Law enforcement's what most of them go into. One of my best friends from high school was Marine amphibious assault. He's now a county sheriff because that translated best for him. He wanted to be in law enforcement, so he did military first. Great, whatever worked for him. I was medical, but I was also a firefighter and medic. My civilian job, I was reserve, so that worked. I worked with a lot of mechanics that had been mechanics in the military: Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, and it translated well. They learned stuff. Took them a while because the military is slow to teach you on certain things, and what they have is not always up to date, the latest, greatest, but they learned the basics. They were welcomed in, they did good jobs, and they learned. Companies like to hire them. If you're just coming out of college, you're still that bottom person on the totem pole. You got a piece of paper that says, hey, I learned how to do whatever this is. Great. That's almost as good as saying I got a high school diploma. Or maybe a little better than saying I got a high school diploma. Because you still don't know the real world aspect of it. You're going to learn it. It's going to be tough. But you can do it. when it comes to, I'm not going to try to get in too much into relationships. That's a thing you have to figure out. Don't settle down and get married to the first person you meet a lot of times. Maybe you've had relationships through high school. Maybe you've been with the same girl, same guy, whatever, for 4 years. Awesome. My son's in that position. They've been together 4 years. They've just gotten engaged. One of the rare times when I would say getting engaged, they just got engaged a few months ago. At that young age, I think it can work. They got a lot of growing up to do. I did. I was married once before, way too young. Neither one of us were mature enough. These two are at least mature enough to know that they're not mature enough, and they're not getting married right off. Still got a couple of years, maybe a year to 2 years before they get married. So, great. Take that time. Find you first. Figure out who and what you are. You're going to find your way in the world. Now, for some people, that's to get as far away from wherever you grew up as possible. And well, maybe that's what you need. Maybe it isn't. You will figure that out. Don't burn bridges. Be honest with you and with everyone you meet. Telling lies gets hard to keep things straight. Be honest. Even when it hurts, be honest. Be brutally honest. Don't be a dick, but be brutally honest. But be that way with you, too. Don't lie to yourself. Understand that it's going to be hard, but it's worth it. I don't want it to sound like all of a sudden life's going to suck, because it's not. There is great parts. You're going to be able to make a lot of your own decisions. You're going to have freedoms that you haven't had. You're going to have abilities that you haven't had before to get out and do things, meet new people, experience life. My advice is don't overdo that. Dip your toes in the water slowly. Don't, boom, I'm out of high school, full bore party time. Don't do that. Experience talking here when I say be careful with that. I got out of it easy. I didn't get in any legal trouble. I didn't anything like that. But boy, I could have probably. It was, just being stupid, drinking when I shouldn't have been drinking, and just doing dumb shit. It's hard at that age to think about being my age, but you will be if God willing, and you're lucky enough, you will be. And you don't want to be sitting here at 50 going, man, I wish my 18-year-old ass had friggin' invested some money and done things right. I'd be sitting a lot better off than I am right now. And I would be able to enjoy life more. Think about that. It's hard. At first, you're not going to be investing much money. I'm not saying you're really going to be able to, because you're going to probably not make enough to do everything you got to do. But realize that there's going to come a point in time where you're going to need to start. 401k at work. Put 2% of your paycheck in if that's all you can afford it. For 1%, I don't care. Put something away. Keep up with it. Don't go out and get yourself in a shit ton of debt. Learn to budget your money. Learn to be responsible. Learn to balance your time. We get so caught up in this world, especially in this country, that work-life balance doesn't exist. When you're young, it still doesn't, because you're establishing yourself. You're doing a lot of things. Don't let that become the pattern of your life. Work, 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 work. Monday through Friday, all I think of is work. Saturday, Sunday, I have some fun. Monday, I'm right back to work. That's life. But again, work so you can live. Don't live so you can work. If you get yourself in too much debt, that's all you've done. I'm living so I can work, so I can pay off all this shit that I bought. Nice shiny vehicle, a boat, a motorcycle, fancy computers, big house, fancy clothes, whatever is nice, until you realize, man, you're just working all the time to pay for that crap, and you've got no life, no time to enjoy it. So stop and smell the flowers. Just enjoy life a little bit. Find you. Because up until this point, you have probably been what your parents wanted or told you you were going to be. Now it's your choice. Now it's up to you some. Be responsible for yourself. You screw up, you owe up. You're like, yep, that was my F up. Sorry, let me fix this. You're not always going to know how. You're going to be put into situations where you're like, holy crap, I do not know what to do. Sometimes the best thing to do is walk away. I've walked away from jobs. I've walked away from relationships. I've walked away from bad people in my life. I've walked away from where I lived, a place I loved, but it wasn't working for me. It wasn't right for me at that time. And life turned out better because of it. I sometimes wonder where I, not sometimes, I a lot of times wonder where my life would be right now if I had just taken some of the advice that I was being given. But I'm like, I know better than that. The world's different than when you were my age. Yeah, some shit don't change. It just doesn't. The exact details might change a little bit, but the basics don't. You know, like, well, you don't understand how expensive it is. Yeah, I do. Okay, things cost a lot less. I left high school making $9 an hour. My first job out of high school, I made $9 an hour. Oh, wait a minute. I made $8.50 an hour. $8.50 an hour to start. Now, I'd always had other jobs, but I went and started doing something a little different. $8.50. My drill, my reserve, Army Reserve drill weekend, I think I cleared about $60 for that weekend. Right around there. Um, yeah, shit was cheap. Gas was $1.10 a gallon, $1.20 a gallon. But I didn't make enough money to still go out and burn through gas all the time. I said, my son, 19's 25, 26 an hour. Plus he gets some overtime. You know? Yep. Gas is higher, food's higher, rent's higher, it all sucks. You know, my rent at the time was like $350 a month plus utilities. People are like, oh my God, I'd love that now. Yeah. When my take home paycheck was $200 a week and I had a car and insurance and light bill and all of that and heat and food and everything else that went along to it, I was lucky if at the end of the month there was $50 sitting there, and I didn't dare spend it because I didn't know when something was going to break on my crappy old car. It's just life. It's the way it is, man. It gets better. And it gets better the more you realize that how much shit you have is not important. A man is not measured by how much things he has, or shouldn't be, that's for sure. I know we look at a lot of the celebrities, be them musicians or actors or sports players. I mean, if you can't tell around here, we're a bit of a football fan. My wife's a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. See her helmet that's normally where that one sits. But for my videos, I swap it around. Uh, when we see these guys, oh my God, he's making $30 million a year. Doesn't make him a better person than the guy that's making 30 grand a year. It doesn't. Is his life any easier? It is if he's smart about it. Look at the number of wealthy people that end up absolutely miserable, sitting on a pile of money. They got nobody around them. They got nothing. You can tell they're miserable once you get old enough and you look and you see them. They're bored. They've done everything. Life's just, that's when a lot of them unfortunately turn to drugs and alcohol or other things like that. Most of them are getting divorced left and right. Life isn't better because you have more things. Life is better when you have more good memories and good people around you. Now, maybe you're like me and I like my personal space. I like, even with my wife, sometimes I don't want her around me. Sometimes I don't necessarily want my kids right next to me. I will always be there for them. There's times when I want to step back and be me. I want to be Mike. I want to go, hey, Mike, what do you need today? You need to do that. You need to take that time and be like, am I moving in my direction? Everything will come in due time. Success will come if you work for it and you're patient. Good relationships come when you work for it and you're patient. Knowledge comes from when you seek it and you're patient. Sometimes we want to learn something and we think we're not learning it. And then it's only years later, you're like, holy crap, I was learning it and didn't even realize it. A lot of us have to learn it the hard way. That's okay too. I think sometimes learning it the hard way, it sticks with us better. If all you got to do is learn that once and never have to go back and relearn that, you're doing really well, doing better than a lot of us. Because I've made the same fuck up many times, sometimes decade apart or more. Go right back at it because we forget, you know. But it's okay. Graduation is either just happened for you or about to. Congrats. Enjoy that day. Don't rush it. The worst things I ever said is I can't wait to grow up and be an adult. Not that being an adult sucks. I don't want to discourage people on it. I want them to go into it and understand what it is and that it's not all sunshine and roses, but it's not all doom and gloom either. Getting older isn't the worst thing. It's better than the alternative of not getting older. It's going to be all right. It is. It's going to be fun. It's going to be work. If you ever played sports and you're out there on the field or on the court or whatever it is you're doing, playing your sport, and you're like, man, I love this. You weren't sitting there necessarily thinking about all week of practice when you're saying, oh, I freaking hate this. Why is coach being a dick? Why is coach making us do this? Why do I have to relearn that? I learned that last year. But then you get out there in the field and you're playing like, oh man, I love this. It's kind of the same way. Everything else is, you got to go through the shit to get to the fun. You got to work before you play, But learn to play some too. Don't ever lose that playful side. Don't ever lose all of that kid in you. And yeah, at 18, 19 years old, you're still a kid. Man, you don't know shit. That's fine. You're not supposed to know shit yet. You know a little bit. Life has got a lot to learn. Well, learn it. You'll get there. I got faith in you. And I'll be here. God willing, I'll be here. If you got questions, you got comments, stick them in there. I try to read every one I get. I don't get a lot of comments. I don't get a lot of views. I'm a new channel. I got 10 subscribers. The hell do I know? Well, I know 50 years of experience. Maybe it can be useful to you. Maybe it can't. Life will be all right. It's just scary sometimes. I got faith in you. You'll get this. And hey, us old guys, any of you that are watching, don't forget to pass that on. Think about when we were their age. Been nice to have some outside experience. Sometimes we listen to people other than our dad and stuff like that a bit better. I did sometimes. I took advice better from my grandfather than I ever did my father. So, anyways, till next time, try to behave. It's tough. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. Be safe. Have fun. Talk to you later.